Good evening and welcome to the Coppell City Commission meeting for August 8th, 2017. Tonight's invocation will be led by Mary Wilson. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for the blessings that you have given us, and we thank you for this community in which we can work and help each other. We thank you for the people that have come out tonight to conduct the business of our city. Give our commissioners the wisdom to make wise decisions for us, and we as citizens help us to do our part to carry the decisions out. We thank you for the staff that takes care of us from day to day. And most of all, Lord, we thank you for being here to help us each step of our journey through life. This we pray in thy holy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Tonight's consent agenda, City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017, and 2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-15 in the amount of $2,286,037.53. Do we have any questions or comments regarding the first two items on the consent agenda? I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye. 2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-15A, Iron Time Sales, in the amount of $78.66. Do we have any questions or comments regarding this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve appropriation ordinance number AO, -17-15A for adoption. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Abstain.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Public hearing, special presentations and proclamations. Public hearing for the fiscal year 2018 budget. Finance Director Stephanie Richardson will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, we're nearing the end of the process for our 2018 budget process. As you'll remember, we met back in April to discuss what the Commission's need or wants were in our budget. We met again after staff had worked on that budget, and in July a couple different times to get everything in that the Commission had agreed to. Once that was completed, I put all the information into the state budget forms. That was taken to the Coffeyville Journal for publication. That's required to be published 10 days prior to our public hearing. So this evening, we're here for the last couple steps of the budget process, and that is conducting our public hearing and then approving the resolution of the fiscal year 2018 budget. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to address those.
Questions? This time I'll open it up to public hearing. Seeing no comments, I'll close the public hearing.
I do have something to say.
Did you have something? Come up to the podium.
I'm here because I'm lost, you know. I've been in this community. I grew up here. I was born and raised here, and
Excuse me, sir. Go ahead and give your name and address, please.
Yes.
Antonio Burnett,
Thank you, Antonio.
1306 West 10th.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
I have congenital heart failure. I have a 100% blockage on my right side. My left side of my heart is only pumping at 17% ejection fraction. My kids are my world, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if this is Tri-County Interlocal or what you know what I'm saying, it was a few years back that ran the operation that had my kids taken from the schoolhouse, and people undermining me, you know what I'm saying, played me for a fool, you know what I'm saying, had me go to a meeting, and it was a mock meeting, you know what I'm saying,
Well,
to get
I think-
information.
Excuse me for 1 minute. Is this about the budget?
Yeah, it's about a
Okay,
budget. 'cause,
okay, I
mean,
didn't know what,
it was all about money, taking kids for money.
okay.
And that's not cool, you know? My kids, you know what I'm saying, grow up, you know what I'm saying, without a dad, you know what I'm saying, but just because I don't have money for a lawyer, to pay for a lawyer, doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying, I'm not entitled to, you know what I'm saying, a fair run at anything.
Okay.
And I don't know, this, like I said, it's had a lot of effect on me. I'm in the process of losing my home and everything else. I was coming up with different ideas, back brainstorming off the head, you know what I'm saying? I could present a couple of them to you later if you like or whatever.
Okay.
But as far as that goes, I just don't understand why, you know what I'm saying, budget planning had anything to do with, you know what I'm saying, school staff and community officials, you know what I'm saying, deciding to play God and who goes and who stays.
Okay. Well, Antonio, we hear your pain, we hear what you're saying, but I don't quite understand what you want us to do as a commission for approving our budget. Paul, do you have any insight or city management or city staff?
Is there any possible housing that you can set up for families that, you know what I'm saying, who are maybe less fortunate, maybe their houses don't look as clean, or they're not passing the inspection, and the police, you know what I'm saying, code of whatever, that they can actually go somewhere with their families and have a chance at, you know what I'm saying, correcting themselves in life, you know?
Well,
Or, you know what I'm saying, or is that out of the question?
I don't believe this particularly pertains to our budget that we're discussing for the city's budget approval. So I believe there are probably some assistants out there. I'm not aware of what they are.
I've tried, yeah, these organizations suck the life out of this community, and, you know what I'm saying, they look at people down and treat them any kind of way when they walk in the door. And I've been getting a lot of Berta sexist, you know what I'm saying, propagation from places all over, you know what I'm saying. If I'm a man, you know what I'm saying, caring about my kids, it's gotta be the woman's job, it's gotta be the woman's job, it's gotta be the woman's job. I've been raising my kids since I was 14, since they were 14 and 5 months of age, handheld. You know, and they were snatched from me when they were 9 and 10 years old. And like I said, that does have an adverse effect on the people in the community, and then they wonder why people act out, you know what I'm saying, and people lose faith, or people stay involved with drugs or anything else. It's because, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, it's a Lancaster mind comp that's being, you know what I'm saying, inflicted upon people.
Antonio, I've been in this process for 2.5 years, and I'm just now trying to learn how it works, okay?
Yeah.
This is the first night you've been here. You're reaching out for help, we understand you, we hear you, but these kind of things, you're looking for some assistance, okay? And this needs to be thought of before the budget. We've been having budget meetings for.
Since
what,
April.
Yeah, to try to figure out our budget. And it's complicated, okay? It's complicated to a guy like me. We're not all that sometimes. But what you need to do is work on this for the next year. You know, if you want to come before the commission, before the city, and ask for something, that these things take time. And now we're getting ready to prove it. We've had one reading. No, we haven't had a reading yet, have we?
Nope.
We're getting ready to, I mean, we've been working on this, the numbers, the staff, for, you know, all year long. And now you're coming up here at the last minute asking for some help, and it's,
I ain't asking for no help, I'm not asking for no handout, I'm just asking for answers, like why,
Okay.
you know? You know
okay,
what I'm saying?
well,
Why, you don't know what, like I said, it's
Mr.
good.
Burnett.
Y'all, God bless, you know what I'm saying?
If you would come visit with me at my office, I'd be happy to help you, or help direct you.
okay, anybody else?
Do we have any other comments from the public? At this time, I'll close the public hearing. So Resolution R-17-59, a resolution to certify the fiscal year 2018 budget for the city of Coffeyville. I have a motion to approve.
I'd make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-17-59 for adoption. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion and action to make an appointment to the City Planning Commission serving to January 1st, 2020. Applicant Jeffrey McLeod. Be present? Great. Would you come up here and tell us why you want to be, why you would like to be on the City Planning Commission?
My name is Jeffrey McLeod. I live at 2114 West Fifth Street. I've lived here in Coffeyville roughly 10 years. My wife is a teacher at the high school, so we're part of the community. And the reason I want to be part of the commission is to help make Coffeyville a better place to live and to help grow and move into the future.
Okay.
What do you think you can add to this current board or commission?
Well, since I just kind of live out in the community, I see things, like streets, lights, and I know you've all been working on, I know all the streets have been getting worked on, I understand that, but, you see the street lights, some of the street lights aren't working, like I know in our neighborhood, we hadn't had a street light in a while. And then one day, as I was looking on the website, I go, oh, there's a place I can say something, like file a complaint, like there's no lights, or however you want to say that, but, being close, close in the community, you see things that I would like to be a part of the city government to help improve life for all of us.
Jeffrey, we haven't met, I don't believe. What's your background?
Well, I have a bachelor's degree in history from Pitt State. I am a substitute teacher at the high school, middle school, and occasionally at the elementary school. And I raised 4 boys, and I enjoy reading and I enjoy history, and I just want to be I want to be a part of government that helps people.
Good.
Conservative, I hope.
Oh, yes.
Just messing with you.
Any questions?
No, I'll make a motion to appoint Jeffrey McLeod to the City Planning Commission.
I'll second it.
What was-
Well, I was
you were
gonna,
saying something? Oh, sorry.
I was just sitting there thinking, I'm a little behind here. Do we have any other applicants? Are you the only one that?
Nope. That's all.
Okay, well, we appreciate you stepping forward.
Yep.
I'll second it, and I guess we'll move on.
Motion was made by Commissioner Castler and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve Jeffrey McLeod to the City Planning Commission serving to January 1, 2020. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Next on the agenda is discussion action to make an appointment to the Montgomery County Community Corrections Board serving to January 1st, 2019. Brooke Ashlock is our lone applicant. She has also applied for the Montgomery County Juvenile Corrections Board serving to June 30th, 2020. So I would ask her to come forward at this time, and she can speak to both of them. We can probably put these together since she can only be on one
Right.
board of the two.
And that's by ordinance.
Right.
Hi,
Hello.
Aye.
I'm Brooke Ashlock. I live at 1319 West 3rd. I've been a lifelong resident of Coffeyville, born and raised. And my background is I've been a social worker since 2000, and I have an MBA. And currently, I have experience working as a juvenile probation officer for years, working for the state of Oklahoma. And just recently, I've been the director of a counseling department at Osage Nation and have acquired several years of experience in mental health and substance abuse. And so that's my background. I feel like the reason why I'd want to serve on a board like this is to indirectly affect the lives of juveniles, is the board I would prefer. Indirectly change their lives by offering the experiences that I have, working in both those sectors of private sector, working in the government of the Oklahoma for probation, and then also in the tribal government, working with Native American kids and helping them through mental health and substance abuse. So that's where a lot of the probation work comes from.
Right.
So,
Good.
I would definitely say that you're definitely qualified.
Absolutely.
I thank you for being on this. This is something that's needed for a while. I want to thank you. Also being a social worker, it's a hard job. So you stepping up and doing all that, and then still wanting to help is a great thing in my book, because it's hard to find good help wanting to stay in that sector.
it definitely is, but when it's in your heart, it never goes away.
Right.
So,
So your preference of the two is the Juvenile Correction Board?
yeah, well, it is because that's where
Background.
my direct experience is in probation. I feel like when you're talking about corrections, that's where it's most needed. And to be honest, I think the kids in this community need our help, and any kind of experience or knowledge I have to offer the board is going to directly affect what happens with the kids.
Good.
Now, this has been open for a while.
It has.
and
Both
before-
of them have been.
Okay. And one of them,
Right.
Bo, was taken off of it. Is that this
This
one?
one.
or- Okay,
With the juvenile.
okay. Did you just find out about it, or?
Oh, no, I applied. When was that, Cindy?
She
May?
had applied, but the application actually came in past the
okay, I
time.
see,
So
okay.
I've held it and then put both of these on
Good,
for
good.
tonight's
That
agenda.
tells the story right there. I wondered what happened there. Good,
Mm-hmm.
well, great.
Any other questions from the commission? Well, I move to appoint Brooke Ashlock to the Montgomery County Juvenile Corrections Board, serving to June 30, 2020.
Second the motion.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to appoint Brooke Ashlock, to the Montgomery County Juvenile Corrections Board, serving to June 30th, 2020. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Castler,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Do we need to
We'll
vote
just
on the other one?
remove, we'll
Or
just remove
the other
that
one?
item from the agenda. I will
Okay.
continue to advertise. There are 2 openings on the Community Corrections Board, and there also is 1 opening remaining on the Planning Commission.
Okay. Resolution number R-17-60, a resolution to execute a quitclaim deed conveying 906 Colorado to Tina McAfee. City Clerk Cindy Price will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, the city owns a vacant lot at 906 Colorado. Tina McAfee lives next to that at 904 Colorado. About a year ago, well, last fall, she contacted the city with an interest to acquire that vacant lot. We worked up an agreement, and if she maintained the lot until July 31st, 2017, then we would deed it to her. We verified that she has been mowing and maintaining the lot, so this will be a quitclaim deed to Mrs. McAfee. It's good for her. She's here if you have any particular questions. It's good for her. She wants to have a bigger yard and a garden. It's good for the city because that gets it back on the tax roll and we won't have to maintain it anymore.
And she's maintained it for the last year.
She
anyway,
has
correct?
maintained it and we did verify that.
Great.
I don't have any questions. Does anyone else have questions?
No. I'd make a motion to approve R-17-60.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve resolution number R-17-60 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Castler,
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-61, a resolution to execute an encroachment easement for 102 Poplar Place. City Attorney Paul Kreitz will make comments.
Commissioners, your guess as to how this encroachment got started is as good as mine, but apparently this encroachment started as early as 1978. The owner at that time requested an encroachment, an easement to allow the encroachment to continue, which was granted by the city for a period of 15 years. It expired. It was then renewed in 1992 and didn't have a definite term, but it was granted to the owner at the time, not to the owner's successors and assigned. So when that owner moved away from the property, sold it, that easement technically expired. So the current owner has requested that we renew or grant a new easement to accommodate the encroachment. The encroachment is viewable on the aerials that are in your agenda packet. They're very clearly, there's very clearly an encroachment along the right-of-way, but it's been there for a very long time. I don't think there's any intended development of that property that would necessitate us to not grant the encroachment. The encroachment agreement does provide that the owner cannot add to the garage or the house. So we think it's reasonable to grant the request.
Is there any issues with the other neighbors?
No.
Okay.
It's been that way for 30 years,
Yeah.
40 years. Can't imagine it's too much of a
Okay.
problem.
Move to approve.
Second.
I'm sorry, I missed
Yeah.
Williams and Kessler. Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Kessler to approve resolution number R-17-61 for adoption. Commissioner Kessler.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-62, a resolution to execute an agreement with Asplin Tree Expert Company for line clearance tree trimming.
Mayor
Electric
and
Utilities
Commissioners?
Director? Yeah, Gene Rackler.
Oh.
You're good.
The Electric Department employs a contract to perform tree trimming services all year long for we have about 200 miles of distribution lines and 16 miles of transmission lines. And request for proposals was issued on July 6th for hourly rates for a 3-man crew plus bucket truck, chipper, and hand tools, and 4 responses were received. The RFP requested information concerning qualifications, experience, safety, training, and a 3-year hourly rate for a 3-man crew, bucket truck, chipper, and hand tools. The rates are as shown on the staff report. Davis Tree did not meet the requirements of experience, qualifications, etc. They also don't do any spraying. They also are a very small company with a limited number of qualified personnel and equipment. They only have 14 employees and 5 trucks. Asplin by far has the experience, equipment, manpower, and additional resources available in southeast Kansas, less than 30 minutes away, if we needed for storm restorations or additional trimming. They actually have about 130 crews in Kansas, and they've been working for Westar, Kansas City Power and Light, Black Hills Energy from anywhere from 15 to 35 years. Poor Boy Service has provided the service for the city for the past 3 years. However, they're limited in their equipment and trained personnel. They have on at least 2 occasions knocked a circuit out, causing an outage, fortunately not harming anybody. They are also limited on side trimming, whereas Asplin can perform full range line clearance. So staff recommends the mayor be authorized to execute an agreement with Asplin Tree Expert Company to provide line clearance tree trimming services at the rates proposed.
Okay.
Questions?
Well, just we can talk about it later maybe, but what happens if they show up with 2 guys?
That is an issue for all tree trimming crews. However, with Asplin, they've got 700 people in Kansas. If somebody quits or something like that, they have other people to rely on.
Right.
They're able to transfer, and the general foreman lives in Independence. All we have to do is make a call, and he'll take care of it.
I mean, you guys might have already thought about it. I don't want to try to micromanage, but being around that kind of stuff, you might want to have something in there that with the rate if they only show up with 2, so it's already covered.
Well, if the only 2 show up, you only pay for 2. You don't pay for, because,
So they've already got a rate for that?
yeah.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, they have a rate for the foreman and the two.
Okay,
other
that's all I was
foremen.
asking.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have a history with both, right? I mean, we've had a
Right.
history with
We've
Asplin.
had, we've had
history-
good history with Asplin.
Yep.
Last time, they were just way overpriced.
Yeah.
And they didn't get the contract.
Any other questions? No. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R-17-62 for adoption.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve resolution number R-17-62 for adoption. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-63, a resolution to execute an agreement with Watersol for maintenance for the electric utility. General Generation Superintendent Tony Lawson will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners. Wardzilla has recommended minor maintenance intervals on these units basically every 2,000 hours. And we're quickly approaching the first 2,000 hours, which probably looking at sometime in October after the peak season. Along with every 2,000 hours, we have the major maintenance intervals at 18, 24, and so on. If approved, the Wartzilla technician who will be on site, he'll supervise city staff on the scope of work, so he's just there to support and supervise our guys doing the work. Staff recommends the mayor be authorized to enter into agreement with and the issuance of a purchase order to Wartzilla North America Parts and Service for the scheduled 2,000-hour maintenance interval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So this cost is addressed here. Can you talk about that just for the heck of it? I mean,
Parts, let's see.
so is he just gonna be here one time, or? tell us
Yes,
a-
yes, this is, this approximately be a 5-day.
A 5-day deal,
Yes.
okay.
It'll approximately take 5 days to service all 3 engines, so he'll be here for 5 days. Part of this cost is for the parts. Some of the parts have a 6-week lead time, so as soon as we get confirmation of delivery, then I can schedule with GRDA the maintenance interval for this.
And we budgeted for this. We knew it was coming, right? I mean,
Yes.
this isn't a surprise.
No, no.
We knew that this was gonna happen at 2,000 hours and generally, how much it was gonna cost to do it, right? Any other questions?
No, I don't have any.
Make a motion to approve Resolution R-17-63 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to approve resolution number R-17-63 for adoption. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Ordinance number G-17-04, first reading of an ordinance to adopt the 2017 Uniform Public Offense Code. City Attorney Paul Kreitz will make comments.
Commissioners, this is pretty much a housekeeping item. We adopt the newest version of the UPOC every year or two. We think it's time to update the information, and the UPOC itself says that the league has published this booklet since 1980. The UPOC is designed to provide a comprehensive public offense ordinance for Kansas cities, and in large part parallels the state criminal code. It's something we use regularly in municipal court and by police and law enforcement activities.
Questions from the commission?
I move to approve ordinance 17-04.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve ordinance number G-17-04 for first reading. Commissioner Castler.
It was Castler that
Don't
seconded
worry about
it.
it. Sorry, I
But it
was
doesn't
quiet on that
matter.
one. I forgot the G, too.
Seconded by Commissioner Castler. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Move on to the city manager's report.
Mayor and Commissioners, Just a few things I want to touch base about. Building projects, just a quick update. Both of them continue to move along very nicely. The kind of the biggest highlight at emergency services right now is the finishing of the roofing, and they have sheetrock is being installed internally, so you can walk through there in some areas and start to see offices and rooms formulating. So in City Hall, framers continue to put up the studs for the offices. They finished first floor and over halfway on the second floor, and it's been progressing. It appears to be slowly, but it's a calculated progression as they're working to build door framings to go along as they put up the studs. So sheetrock is on site, and that will soon begin. We would expect that probably in the next week. So I spoke with Jason McVeigh from Decker today, and he has no concerns about timing or anything. So hydrant flushing is taking place. We just went through our annual free chlorine burn, and in conjunction with that, we start flushing the system, and the fire department, while they're flushing, is doing hydrant testing for pressure. We had an on-site inspection from KDOT regarding the Safe Routes to School, our Phase 2 grant, and no issues were indicated. They seemed very positive that we had a very strong application, and that is for the $400,000 implementation grant. So we will look. They'll make that award later this year, towards fall.
What's that for again?
Safe Routes to School.
Oh.
And I would also like to say congratulations to Dr. Carell and USD 445 staff. They were awarded, included in the school redesign initiative that the state school board had put out. They chose 7 schools throughout the state of Kansas to participate in this initiative, and Coffeyville was chosen as one of those schools. So that's a big honor, and I know that his staff and he and his staff went through a lot of work in preparing for that. So congratulations to them. And then just reminder, Fair and Rodeo starts this weekend.
Yep.
Starts out, what, Sunday or what?
Saturday, I believe.
Saturday, the demo derby. That used to come like a day or two later, didn't it?
It'd be like Monday or Tuesday, something like that, I think. or-
Yeah. Well, bull riding was always Commission Tuesday, so yeah.
I think, yeah, be a busy week.
It will be.
At this time, we'll open it up to comments from the public. Public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body. Be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Knew Mary would get it started.
Well, I'm Mary Wilson. I live at 207 West New. Just want to let you know that even though we have the fair and rodeo, the farmers market still goes on. We can't always share the Walter Johnson Park, so a week from today, on the Tuesday, we will be meeting on 10th Street right next to Northwest Avenue. And we had about 12 vendors out today. We have some new ones picking up. We have goat cheese. What farmer's market has goat cheese for sale? Or dandelion jellies. Come out and try the new foods as well as the old standbys, watermelon and cantaloupe.
Will do.
See you there.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else? At this time, we'll open it up to comments from the commissioners and staff.
I have something real quick. The 10th, there is a governor candidate going to be coming down to the Windsor Event Center, Jim Barnett. He'll be coming here for a meet and greet, and he wanted me to express that.
So when is that again?
August
Thursday.
This coming
10th
Thursday?
at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. I don't know if I've got that on my deal or not. What's he running for, doing?
Governor?
Okay, Jim Barnett.
Yeah, Jim Barnett.
Okay, I think I saw something on it.
Yeah, I've been getting emails on it.
Okay,
So I wanted the public to know, just to get out, he could,
okay.
he's running for governor. There's many of a list, but he wanted to come down. He's talking about healthcare and a few other things that are important to our region, so.
Okay. Sounds good.
I've got a whole lot of comments, but I'm going to reserve them until next meeting. And at that next meeting, I've asked that an item be put on the agenda. And that item is the addressing the living requirements for city employees. And I just want to make an announcement that that item will be on the agenda for next meeting, which will be August 22nd, I believe. And I will reserve my comments until that time. But I think that it's a time that the city take a good hard look at their living requirements and make some adjustments to that policy, because quite frankly, it's becoming detrimental to our community. So I just leave it at that at this point.
Good. Any other comments? Jim?
Well, when did we attend the CRMC board meeting? What day
Week and a
was
half
that?
ago, Wednesday
Yeah,
after our
that was since
commission.
the last meeting. I just want to say,
We can go Tuesday.
we had that meeting. Is that open to the public?
Yes.
It is. Yes.
Okay, I thought it was. It was a great meeting. I put something, I wrote a letter to the editors, and it was very informative. It was a lot better, a lot more informative and enlightening than the one before. And I just wanted to say something about that. Some of our citizens might want to attend that next time. I'll mention that. I think, like I said, I put a letter to the editor. I don't know if it's been printed or not, but that was an interesting deal.
Break.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
That's all right. I thought maybe it was about my deal, but anyway, I think that's all I've got.
Okay.
I concur with Jim. It was a very informative meeting. I think they got a lot of good things going on over there at CRMC. I think they're also struggling like a lot of other rural hospitals throughout our state, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, but I think that they're on a good path to be on a solid foundation for the foreseeable future.
Well, it was obvious to me that we're lucky to have a staff that's working on all facets, all parts of that, all functions of the hospital, from the marketing, from the service, from getting doctors and all that. And Neil Barkley made a comment that they were very appreciative of the half-cent sales tax, and it was really helping them, survive, which had been talked about a lot. And it was just a real informative meeting. So, I just would, in closing, I would highly suggest if any of the citizens want to attend that next year, it'd be good to have a few citizens there. We didn't have that many people there. I think it's kind of a little bit, I don't want to call it a secret, but it's not well advertised, and here's a place to talk about it. I do have one other thing I want to talk about, and I need to write a letter to the editor, maybe do some kind of media stuff on it. But we have some people that are running for this post, you being one of them, Chris, for a commissioner. We have, 3 openings, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it, city manager or staff, but last time, there was some town hall style.
And there are plans for that again. That'll be, it's not the city who is conducting them, but I know the chamber is assisting with that. Windsor Place is helping with that to coordinate some, and I think, it's my understanding, there's a few different entities who would like to help sponsor some of those types of events.
Okay. You know, we'll say one more quick thing. That was, you know, I remember doing it, and it's to the newcomers, it's a little bit challenging to know how to prepare for it, and if there's anything city staff can do about helping with that, I don't know what it would be, but can the public ask questions there? Do you remember? I mean, this might not be the perfect place to address it, but I'm hoping the public gets involved. I know people listen online, people write about it, and I'm looking forward to that process, and I'm hoping that we have some community involvement in that. I can talk to you about it a little bit later. One of the questions that came up when I was talking to someone about it today was, does the public get to ask them questions, or is it just, you know, so I'd like to know more about that, so.
And again, it's not going to be hosted by the city. I was asked to maybe give some input as to possible questions, or but I don't know that it's an open forum, and the last time it happened was before I came, so.
Now, who did you say was going to put that? Who was
Well, it,
sponsoring
you know,
it or
you know,
managing it?
Monty Kaufman at Windsor had spoken to me at the CRMC meeting about, you know, their plans to host it, but I've also spoke with Candy Westbrook at the chamber, and I think they're kind of coordinating some of that with them. But it's like I said, it's my understanding there has been some other entities step up and ask about helping to sponsor.
My personal opinion is I think the city should stay completely out of it.
Yep.
I think that by assisting on questions and things like that, it's I think you run into some things that we're seeing now in our federal government to
Well,
where,
I won't ask you anything too hard.
hey, I'll answer it. You may not like the answer I'm going to give, but you're going to get the truth when you when you ask me the question.
Paul, on
Like it or
that,
not.
from a legal standpoint, is there any concerns about the involvement? I mean, we're just a small community trying to make this thing work,
I don't
okay?
think there'd be a problem with developing questions. Obviously, the city can't take a role in supporting one candidate or another. It has to remain neutral.
Well, I understand that. I understand that. I just trying to, you know, from the very start, how does this thing work? That's why I'm here, to learn how it works. All the training from John and John, the guys we got our training from, and this whole thing, and this is a new phase, and so I'm here to ask questions. We don't talk through the week very much. I get one call every 2 weeks from somebody about some little thing, and I'm just trying to help facilitate how this thing works. And this is a place to ask when we're all here. We're all right here, okay? So I'm kind of interested in the process, and if you've got any, you know, suggestions or ideas, I'm all ears, because I'm interested in that process. I'll be done there. Thank you.
You're okay. So the only thing that I have is the electric utilities that we had our problems with again. So I've been contacted over the last 2 weeks countless times. Read it all over Facebook. We're getting bashed because of high bills. I've got numerous phone calls. I know we've put some things in place to correct the problem that happened, but when people are getting $800 electric bills and they're used to $100 electric bills or $180 electric bills because of misreading of meters by the city of Coffeyville, I think we've done a good job on telling people what they can do through Facebook and through the, those social medias, but I think we need to probably televise it and tell them, this is what we're doing and this is what needs to be done if you're running into, I just got one, well, I saw one today on Facebook. They didn't direct it towards me, and then I did get a phone call Thursday or Friday of last week about electric utilities that was in that $700+ range, and their average is $180, $150, something along those lines, and on a fixed income. And so if we could take a few minutes to explain what we're doing, how we're fixing it, and I think Chris has some ideas also.
And answer this question during this process. It's my understanding that if you get one of these outrageously high estimated utility bills, that you can come up to the
Customer service
and work out a payment plan. What are those payment plans? Are they standard across the board for everybody, or are they different on a case-by-case basis?
Simple answer is, they're different on a case-by-case basis.
Based upon what criteria?
Whatever that customer needs to make it affordable for them.
Okay.
We do have a standardized contract. I've seen some social media posts that alluded to that contract, which would be paying 25% down and then breaking that up over 6 months. That is not what we're doing.
Okay.
I have waived those restrictions. We will literally do anything that we need to do, break it up any way that we need to break it up, to make certain that it's not a financial burden to those citizens.
I think that answers my question.
Yep.
What I was gonna
I know.
ask. My second question. This happened twice. One group of people were affected by the first incident. Another group of people was affected by the second incident. However, we have not an estimated, but basically a trying to think of the correct word, help me out.
Schedule?
No, where we can sign up for their even payment.
The even
Yes,
payment plan.
Even payment plan.
Now, part of those restrictions on an even payment plan is that you're not entering into any
Contracts.
type of contract with the city
This would not count against that.
within the last 12 months.
This would not count against
The
that.
first group or the second group? Or both groups?
The,
See how it becomes unfair? Because if you do the second group and you don't do the first group, then it becomes unfair, or vice versa.
well, and I guess if you're referring to the first group, a year has passed. So that time frame would be done.
But they weren't offered the same, so they weren't offered what I'm saying is, would it affect them? And if it did affect them, not being able to sign up because they signed up for the plan, do you see what I'm saying? Evidently you don't.
Not quite.
I don't quite understand either.
But
How's
So if
it
it affect-
working? Is everything going good with it? Is there some problems?
We still have customers who are coming in and are upset, and we're working with each of them, so.
Yeah, how many you talking about?
I'd hate to throw an estimate. Stephanie, can you give an estimate?
How many people were affected by this incident?
We truly don't know.
20?
More than 20, probably closer to 100 or more. Yeah, 100 or more.
They're not getting overbilled.
They're not getting overbilled.
But they were underbilled, and then they come up with a bigger bill at the end.
Correct. And if you give me an opportunity, I'll
Okay.
try to explain as best as I can as
Okay.
to what we seen happen. We had a meter reader who, for whatever reason, was estimating on his own the usages. Through some work of staff, we uncovered this happening. There was evidence of these things happening. We terminated that employee. And then we put in a new meter reader, took over those duties, and began actually reading each and every meter. Because of the estimations that had occurred, and the majority of them were underestimated, okay? For 2, 3, 4 billing cycles, we're not 100% certain on really how far this goes back, because our computer records only go back for 3 months at a time. But when we started actually reading the meters and the actual usage was recorded, all of that unbilled usage came together in one bill, and that's why we have $800 bills. So,
Okay. But on the flip side, that could have happened the opposite way too, right?
it could have, it
I
could
mean,
have.
there's a potential.
There is a potential.
It doesn't sound like it did, but.
Right. And, you know, while this is similar to the occurrence last year about this same time, it isn't the same thing.
Right.
The things that happened last year were estimations, were planned estimations on our part. This was not it was not an employee taking it upon themselves to estimate. It was planned estimations because of a few things, lack of manpower and some other things. And that was coupled with excessive heat at that time. It was kind of a perfect storm of things. Also, the method that we use to calculate estimations by taking the last couple months average reading and the month from the year prior, because of those circumstances, it led to underestimations. So the result was the same, but the reasoning for them were different, and that's what makes the two events different.
Okay.
We don't believe that it was poor performance by an employee the first time that it happened. Unfortunately, same time of year, obviously people, citizens see that happening and it becomes a pattern, or they perceive it to be a pattern. You know, we've addressed it. We believe that we have fixed the issue. We will be looking at some other things, scheduled a meeting, a work session for later this month to talk about some technology that could help with this situation. So those are the things that we're doing.
So the management of this whole situation, you feel is going pretty good?
I believe so. Customer service has been inundated, but I believe that they're handling it well, and they're under a lot of pressure, and people are angry, justifiably so. I hate that we've hurt the public trust. They deserve better than that, obviously. But I would encourage you, if you get those phone calls, give them my number. Give them my cell number.
Yep.
Tell them to call me. I'll visit with each and every one of them.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Appreciate
it.
that.
Any other questions from the commission?
I'll just say something.
I'd like to say, go ahead.
Well, I was on the way in here listening to the news tonight. UPS had a computer glitch and had all kinds of computer problems. I guess it was today, but, this is a problem. I know it affects some people, but we're gonna have these problems. Can you imagine being UPS and their computers go down, losing packages, and it was on their tracking side? I mean, companies and businesses and cities have problems, and as long as we're managing it good, and the city staff is handling it, that's all we can do, and learn from it, you know? And you know,
Yep,
we've all had some calls, and
sure.
I spent, I don't know, 15 minutes one day on the last couple Saturday goes with a lady, and it's bad, but we got to just fix it and go on. That's all we can do, you know?
And like I said, if you could defer them to me and other staff, then we can drill down to and really look at what their problem is, what the situation is. They may have something else going on that has accounted for those bills. It could be just a problem with the meter or a leak or something like that. We need to be able to, we don't want to just write these off as, carte blanche. We'd like to look at each and every situation to make sure that we're doing everything we can for them.
So you think more of them were underestimated?
Absolutely.
What percentage is that? 75, 25 maybe?
I wouldn't even venture a guess. I'd say it's probably closer to 98.
Okay, and then with that said, sitting here and listening to that about the 3 months, some of them might have had a cheaper bill, and we might have lost some revenue from it.
We didn't lose any revenue. It just wasn't billed at the time that it occurred.
You said something about we could only go 3 months back.
As far as looking at the physical records, but when we read the meter today, that's an accurate reading, and so the usage that has went through there.
So they didn't get charged more, and we didn't lose income.
Exactly. They just didn't get charged at the time they used it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, we're clear now. Thank you.
I have another question that was submitted to me. So do citizens need to monitor their meters themselves to prevent this if it's a reoccurring issue?
Do they need to? No. Are they welcome to? Yes.
The other question is are the meters read the same time each month?
There's roughly a window of a couple, 3 days in there every month that if you're typically read on the 15th, the next month you're going to be the 12th to the 17th. It's going to be a narrow window depending on the calendar and a few of those things.
I had a question about reading it too, and it just dawned on me. Do we have a policy guideline, so if they want to do it,
Yes.
they can follow that?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can use the website to submit those readings.
So that they can get a copy somehow of how to do that?
Absolutely.
It's not that hard for them to do?
That's not necessarily true.
Okay.
Not all meters are digital. The dial meters are difficult to read.
Okay.
It takes a little bit of instruction to know how to accurately read a dial meter.
Okay, so if somebody wants to do that, they can?
They can, yes.
And they
Like I
can
said,
get
a
some
digital
help from
meter-
the city somehow?
We could show them how to read that.
Okay.
But it's not as simple as reading a digital clock or something. The dial meters, there's a trick to it a little bit.
Okay, I understand. Because I got asked that question too, and thank you.
Good coverage.
I don't have anything else.
I don't have anything. This time I'll move to executive section for acquisition of real property. Motion to move to recess to executive session to discuss the potential purchase of certain real estate within the city limits pursuant to the acquisition of real estate property. Exception to reconvene in the commission room at 7:30 and end at 7:40.
In a 5-minute break.
Oh, so we'll start at 7:35 to 7:45. 5-minute break. Second?
I second it.